From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrea Nakano.
And I'm Brian Hackney. We'll begin tonight in the East Bay and the prospects for another teacher strike brewing in Oakland. The Oakland Education Association confirming to us tonight that Oakland teachers have voted to authorize a one-day strike that would take place on Thursday, May 1st.
That decision comes after a tumultuous week for the district. On Wednesday, a union-backed school board majority voted to remove Superintendent Kyla Johnson-Trammell. Other school administrators say the union leadership has threatened them as well, while the union alleges the district is manufacturing its budget crisis as an excuse to lay off teachers.
Lynn was in Oakland today ahead of this week's potential strike, and he's got the latest on the growing discord in the district.
Roughly 34,000 students attend Oakland public schools. Parents say while the one-day strike would be a big disruption, many support their teachers. For OUSD parent Rachel Kennan, it's a feeling of not again.
OUSD should be ashamed of creating a school environment where kids can't count on school taking place. My kids they're 6th grader and 9th grader now, and they've been through 4 strikes. They don't believe that school will be there for them from one week to the next because you never know when there's going to be a strike.
Thursday's work stoppage would be the 4th strike in 6 years. OUSD teachers walked out in 2023, 2022, and 2019.
We need to be able to count on the schools to be open on school days so that we know where our kids are and we don't need to interrupt our jobs. We don't need to change our lives around when our kids should be at school learning.
The Oakland Education Association, or OEA, says the strike would be over unfair labor practices and fall on May 1st, International Workers' Day. The union accuses the district of failing to provide financial information about recent budget cuts. The district was facing a multi-million-dollar budget deficit and issued about 100 layoff notices. The union released a statement on Sunday that reads in part, "The district has a legal obligation to provide this information, which is needed to enable educators to understand how proposals would affect teachers, district and classroom stability, and the community we serve." Many parents I talked to say they side with the teachers.
Luckily, my kids are old enough that I can keep them home. I would never cross a strike.
I'm not as caught up in all of the details, but I do trust our teachers and know that if they're considering doing something as drastic as this, that it is important and something that we should all pay attention to.
School Board Director Mike Hutchinson says he's confused by the strike, claiming the union has access to all the budget information it's requesting.
All of our budget documents are public information. They are publicly posted on our district website as required by law. And so I would just point out that there's been very general claims made, and nobody has been able to say specifically what document they have not been given.
Some parents like Kennan remain critical of the district and are even considering leaving OUSD due to the ongoing instability.
OUSD is shooting itself in the foot. They're doing all of this stuff that's breaking trust and breaking any support that they might have had with families.
The OUSD School Board scheduled a special meeting on Tuesday night to try to work with the union and avert the strike.
We reached out to Oakland Unified for a statement on how they plan to prepare for the strike if no compromise is reached. We are still waiting for a response.
And now for a live look outside. It was fairly chilly today. There were a few sprinklets here and there. And as for what's next, here's Darren Peck.
Well, we are about to say goodbye to that. Take a look at the time lapse, and you can see how the clouds are clearing out in a hurry. A lot more blue sky out there now. And if we just look back at the last 14 hours, we got rain in the morning hours. So watch the replay from this morning. Look what showed up like 6, 7 o'clock this morning. This is exactly how the high-resolution forecast models were depicting it last night. That's actual radar. We didn't get a lot out of it, but we got rain in the pre-dawn hours, and now we've pretty much cleared that out, and we are done for a little while. I hate to say this, there's another chance for rain coming back and a cool down by the time we get into early next week. Let me just leave you with one notable story here for the daytime highs. If you take a look at the warm-up coming our way over the next couple of days, these are the daytime highs for tomorrow. We're going back into the low 70s. You were in the mid-60s today. So tomorrow you're going to get more sunshine, you get a nice little warm-up. Tuesday and Wednesday are warmer and sunnier than that. And then we're going to start going back downhill again. I'll show you what that looks like coming up in the full forecast in a bit, guys. Back to you.
Alrighty, Darren, thank you. The 102nd opening day on the Bay Boat Parade went on earlier today, as well as the annual Blessing of the Fleet, a tradition now in its 62nd year.
Hundreds of classic boats sailed just off the shore from Chrissy Field. This year's theme is Generations of the Bay.
Wasn't expecting to see this. It's nice to see all the boats out on the water.
It's great to see this great tradition continue here in San Francisco Bay. A lot of kids, a lot of community, they're out on these boats that don't usually get a chance to be on the water, so it's pretty neat.
Celebration comes with concerns, though, for East Bay boat owners all across Northern California. The fight is on to prevent the spread of an invasive shellfish called the golden mussel.
It has the potential to do billions of dollars in damages to water infrastructure. As a result, the East Bay Regional Park District has announced changes to the way boaters can operate. John Ramos has that story.
This isn't exactly fair weather for boating on Lake Del Valle, but when it does warm up, this is one of the more popular places in the East Bay Regional Parks District. But now the rules are changing rapidly about even putting your boat on the water, and it's all thanks to an invasive creature the size of your thumbnail. When golden mussels were first discovered on a float near the port of Stockton last year, it sent shockwaves through Northern California water agencies. The invasive mollusk, native to Asia, can live in most kinds of water and reproduces rapidly, fouling pipes and motors and just about anything else it gets a hold of. And that spells bad news for fishermen like Ali Moyedi.
It just feels like the ecosystem's really fragile, and at any minute you could lose whatever lake you're fishing at. So it's kind of, it is scary to say the least. I'm scared to go to the Delta because then I might not be let back into here, which is kind of scary too.
For Ali, here is Lake Del Valle above Livermore. The lake already has an inspection program for invasive mussels that requires a band be fastened between boats and trailers, allowing them to move between various lakes in the East Bay Regional Park District without being re-inspected. But that's about to change.
This is a new invasive mussel, and we are responsible to not spread it from waterway to waterway. And so our boat banding program is changing. We'll now have, starting on May 7th, color coding bands so that you can return to the same water body with a particular color of band, but we will not be using bands from one water body to the other as we had been in the past.
That means moving a boat from lake to lake will mean a re-inspection process that requires the boat to be completely clean and dry, which can take up to a week under normal conditions. If that sounds difficult, it's nothing compared to some lakes. EB Mud has banned any new watercraft of any kind from its reservoirs, and Folsom Lake has a banding program that involves a 30-day quarantine to allow boats to dry completely.
For me, coming out to fish is like therapy, So
a 30-day quarantine would be pretty hard?
Yeah, exactly. My mental health wouldn't be the best after 30 days for sure.
Nick Simard appreciates that the Park District's program is a little less draconian, but he also doubts that Lake Del Valle will stay mussel-free if they're already in the Delta.
There are certain bodies of water, such as Lake Del Valle, that get Delta water put into the lake. So if they're worried about the mussels being in the Delta, then it's likely going to be also eventually in here as well.
The Park District seems to agree with that.
I don't believe that we have detected any in our lakes yet, but I think that there's sort of an idea of an inevitability that it will happen at some point. And so the constant inspections are really the best that we can do to protect our lakes from having any kind of infestation.
And with no way to eradicate the pest once it invades an area, avid boaters like Ali will probably have to stay tethered to a single lake by a color-coded band.
And you're afraid, like, once they cut that band off, that might be the last time you fish this lake. So, so I'm tied into this lake now, which is fine. I love this lake, but I would like to, just for variety, go somewhere else and do something else. But
the state has been battling other invasive mussels for years, but the golden mussel is a game changer, and it looks like the way people boat in California is changing as well.
Well, up next, a scavenger hunt around the Bay for rare coins valued up to $25,000. That story when we come back. All across San Francisco today, valuable rare coins have been hidden for a scavenger hunt that could return some serious coin.
I think they've done this before. Every hour on the hour, the folks at Witter Coin are hosting clues to their whereabouts, the whereabouts of the coins, online. And we talked to two treasure hunters during their search.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
Hey, what's up, man?
We would do. I hope this is an annual thing. We would do it every year.
Got the day off, and you know, I get to roll around the city on my scooter and have an objective. It's more fun of the adventure. But I'm getting close. I hope I'll be able to get one.
And the total value of the coin is $25,000 for all of the coins that are hidden today. It's the second year Witter Coin has done this, all to try and get people to collect coins. Darren?
All right, let's look ahead to tomorrow in case you're going to be out doing a scavenger hunt on your Monday. It's different. You're going to get more sunshine. It's going to be a nicer day to be outside. What we're showing you again on here is what happened this morning. You see the timestamp down there? We had some rain move across the bay between like 5 and 7 o'clock this morning. But look at the last few hours in that time lapse. We're turning a corner now. And what I'd like you to see, we're going to look at tomorrow in two different ways. The first thing we're going to look at is watch the clouds clear out. This is the Futurecast depiction showing us the high-resolution view for what the clouds will look like as we get into tomorrow. That's the start of the day. By the time we get to 7 a.m., they're gone. Maybe there's a little bit of fog here in the valley, and as we go into the afternoon, we're going to stay sunny. So if we know you're getting more blue sky tomorrow, let's show you what it'll feel like. We'll use the virtual map for that. Say goodbye to the city names, and let's put on the color contour first off, just to kind of give you the idea of the deeper shades of yellow and orange that show up here, which allow the temperatures to climb a little more than they would have otherwise. And that's when we see daytime highs that make it back up into the low 70s. So here are Monday's numbers. This is where we left off in the last visit. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are fantastic if you want it sunny and warmer. You'll see in the 7-day forecast, Tuesday and Wednesday are even warmer than this. We will get to some low 80s inland, plenty of sunshine. All right, now that we've covered that, we need to go find the next system because we can already see the beginnings of a shift in the pattern here when we look out into the Pacific. And the first thing that we're going to notice is there's a lot developing out here, but it's several days away. But back here in this region, I'm going to skip the Futurecast ahead now to Wednesday. And what we're going to watch is just the depiction of how the rain is going to get organized right out in that line of clouds, and it's going to start getting pulled our way. And by the time we get to Friday, this system, which we started playing on Wednesday, that is Friday. You see the timestamp down there? Let's look at it another way because that just gives you the big picture view. Let's put it into the forecast imagery up here and let's play that forward from out in the Pacific and you'll watch that line of rain come in. Now there's not a lot to that. Kind of falls apart as it gets here. But Friday and Saturday, we're going to have this chance for showers. And when we come in for a closer look and put some rainfall totals on it, I hate to say it, but next weekend, once again, we're looking at the possibility for a few light showers. Certainly a cool down. Look what happens in the 7-day forecast. We talked about this warm up for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There, your inland numbers getting near 80. But then by Friday, the clouds increase. The temperatures inland go back to the 60s. You stay there into Saturday. If we get rain out of that, it's a couple hundredths of an inch. It really wouldn't amount to a whole lot. But that's kind of where we're at least turning our attention after what will be a very nice middle part of this week.
Well, in West Oakland, a problem with no clear solution. Thousands of school-issued laptops, all on the fritz.
Until one high school found a unique way to bring them all back to life. Itai Hod explains.
At McClymonds High in West Oakland, most students work on their laptops. David Anderson's work is his laptop.
See how it's kind of blurry and stuff? That means it's either the bezel or the camera's broken.
David is part of a program called the Tech Repair Hub. Sounds official until you realize it's run by teenagers armed with tiny screwdrivers and a mountain of busted Chromebooks. No Genius Bar, no waiting room, just sticky notes that read broken display and missing hinge thing. And students who somehow know exactly where to begin. Take Gavin Armstrong. A year ago, he was just using a school laptop. Now, he's the reason why everyone else's still works.
It's satisfying knowing that I have the skills and capabilities to just do this.
It all started in 2021 when the pandemic pushed classes online and school laptops to their breaking point.
Slide it in.
With no budget for repairs, the district did something unorthodox. They handed the tools to the students. It was a long shot, but it clicked. And it's not just extra credit. Students here earn $18 an hour. Samantha Nunez, who oversees the program, says in the last school year alone, these students have fixed close to 1,000 computers, saving the district more than $200,000.
Were there any worries that kids might not be able to do it?
Yeah, there was definitely worries and concerns, like, do they have the capacity to fix it, right? And turns out they do.
There's so much technology waste.
Colleen Piper, the school's college and career counselor, says other districts are now calling from across the country. But the biggest impact, she says, can't be measured in numbers.
Learning, honestly, just the responsibility of holding down a job, communication skills.
As for David, he's now eyeing a career in computer science.
Is it fun to take something apart and figure it out?
Yeah, it gets your mind thinking different possibilities and ways you can figure out how to fix something.
And while the job was to repair computers, along the way, they found something else worth rebooting, their own potential.
Do they fix iPhones too?
Yeah,
I have a cracked screen. I could use a new screen, but
Get me their numbers. Yes,
yeah,
I'm with
it's
you.
great experience for those kids. So hopefully they continue that. Well, that does it for us here at 5. We will see you back here for a full hour of news at 6 o'clock.
Local news continues streaming on CBS News Bay Area. For now, good night. CBS Weekend News is next.
Thank you.